Meeting to order. If we could, I'd like to yield actually to Councilwoman Capeen for the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This morning, I'd like to introduce Bill Carlson to President. He's going to do our invocation. He's president of Tucker Hall and is a graduate of the University of Tampa and Harvard University's John F. Kennedy School of Government. A longtime community activist, Bill is a member of the City of Tampa's Charter Review Commission, co-founder of Café con Tampa, and has served in a leadership position with the Hillsborough Education Foundation, Tampa and Florida Chamber of Commerce, Rotary International, Florida Tax Watch, and the Museum of Florida History. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for Pledge of Allegiance.
Morning, everyone. Let's pray. God, please bless the city council and the mayor as they represent the people in their work today. Please bless the employees of the city of Tampa, and in particular, the police and firefighters who put their lives on the line every day for us. And please bless the citizens who are here today and those watching on TV as they give their input to the city to help the city do their work. Please help everyone to have a great day today, and especially a great Valentine's Day. Amen.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, roll call, please.
Suarez. Cohen. Reddick. Capeen.
Present.
Miranda. Vieira. And Maniscalco.
Here. All right, we're going to begin with a monthly report from our CAC representative for the Channel District, Mr. Nicholas Buchanan.
Good morning, and hopefully everyone's enjoying a nice little chilly day today with a change of seasons. My name is Nick Buchanan. I'm the chair for the CAC, the Channel District, and I have a nice little list to update you with for our quarterly report. The Channel Club, which is the new rental building, is now complete and starting to rent out their units. And then at the bottom is our coveted excitement for the district as the public's closed on the purchase of the land and the structure. So they're supposed to be opening up in 2019 in the summertime. Liberty Group is nearly complete with the building for the new Hampton Inn and Home Suites hotels at the corner of Meridian and Kennedy. There'll also be a Starbucks down there too, so we're excited about that. Sparkman Wharf has been open for several months, is doing very well, and it's getting a lot of attention. Mercury Advisors announced their new development for Elevate, which is Elevate 61, which is right there on Channelside Drive and Whiting, and they're going to be ranging condos from 800,000 upwards to 2 million. Staff has completed negotiation scope for the channel-wide engineering consult group, which will be coming to City Council in March. Staff is wrapping up the contract with GPI, which is going to be doing the construction for the Channelside Drive project, which we're all excited about. And then Madison Street Park is currently out for bidding with a very good showing of approximately 25 contractors attending the pre-bidding meeting. And that's for the our coveted dog park over there by the Channelside Club. And Port Tampa Bay has announced that they have reached a benchmark with over 1 million cruise visitors this past year. So we're doing good, and excited about all the more to come as we go. But that's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Buchanan? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Mr. McDonough with the CRA Activities Monthly Report.
Good morning, Bob McDonough. I want to thank council that was able to make it to the groundbreaking for the Hyatts across the street. They were very much supported by, part of the attractiveness of this is the fact that for a lot of our conventioneers, it's important that they have different price point hotels. And this is going to offer something that the conventioneers feel is important. So we'll have more hotel rooms within walking distance to the convention center. And they plan on being open in time for the Super Bowl.
Hey, Bob, I got the baby.
That's right, I heard that. That's right. But you have to buy the cake next year.
We got a short time, so we want to eat cake.
That's right. It was a New Orleans developer who brought a cake, a Mardi Gras cake for that, and there's a long-standing tradition that the person who finds the baby inside of it buys next year's cake. So it's also good luck. So, yes. Got a very busy weekend this weekend. Hamilton is at the Straws, and all of those shows are sold out. So if you're coming downtown, you can expect a fair amount of traffic. Emily Arena has hockey on Saturday night. And one of the things that we're also working on, hopefully we'll be able to bring it to council in not too distant future, is another extended stay hotel up on Franklin Street. And what's important is that we will be working with them to reconnect Harrison Street between Franklin and Tampa Street. So it's a reestablishing part of that grid that has not been there for a while. And along with that will be the rebuild of Herman Massey Park. And now that there are residents living in that part of downtown, They have a very active voice in what that park is going to be, so we'll see something there shortly. We have some new CAC members in Central Park. We're starting to see more activity. The Housing Authority is getting a fair amount of activity on their parcels that they have left, so we should see some commercial development happening there in the not-too-distant future. One of the things Nick talked about was the Channel District. I believe Publix is scheduled to open in May, which is an important threshold for the community. East Tampa, the 34th Street property acquisition is now complete, and transportation can move forward with those improvements. And they are working on the scope for the update for the strategic action plan, and hopefully that will go out for bid in the not-too-distant future, and the community then can have an input on exactly what they want to see, the activities that are directed for the CRA in that neighborhood. Ybor, they're working right now with Uber and Lyft to find some safe havens for people to drop off instead of dropping people off right in the middle of 7th Avenue. So that's something that's being worked on. Final selection for the vision plan, the update, and that should be coming to you in the not-too-distant future. So again, that's two communities, East Tampa and Ybor, that we're dealing with older plans and things have changed and a lot of the target activities have already been achieved. And so now it's time to update the plans to reflect on what's going on in those communities and the desire of the residents in those communities. Fiesta Day is the 23rd. And West Tampa, again, moving forward with their strategic action plan, and they have established subcommittees. And so they are mapping out a plan for that community, and we're going to see some specific direction from them in the not-too-distant future. And folks, if you're listening from Drew Park, we are actively soliciting members. We've had a couple people drop out because of business opportunities, and we need some extra bodies to round out that group. That completes my report.
Councilman Swartz.
Mr. McDonough, you just mentioned about West Tampa. I see as one of the updates here that they're trying to work with Rebuilding Together Tampa Bay for improvements at Ray Park. What, I mean, rebuilding typically is building homes or
They are.
refurbishing homes.
Uh-huh.
How does that work with a park? Because I've never seen them do that before.
You know, Malcolm, please.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
And also, have we thought about having Kaboom come in there to actually put in new equipment? So
We'll talk about it.
I guess we'll ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Malcolm Connor, CRA staff. So Rebuilding, they have an opportunity to apply for a grant. It's a two-part grant, as I understand it. The first part of the grant, they would receive funds to invest in a community park within the West Tampa community.
Okay.
And Ray Park stands out because they've already done rehabilitation on homes in and around the park.
Right.
If they receive that grant, the second part would be another grant to do additional rehab within the neighborhood.
Okay, so, but what would they be targeting in terms of what they're doing at the park? That's my question.
So it's not totally flushed out. It's an opportunity.
Okay.
As I understand it, the organization they're applying for the grant wants an opportunity to come out, do community service, have a day in the park, probably get some good press, make basic improvements like painting, landscaping, that type of thing, and then the second part would come and do the rehab in the area.
Okay, and then second part of my question about Kaboom, has there ever been a discussion with Kaboom about putting new equipment over at the park, or?
No, I can look
Okay.
into that.
Could you get with Parks and Rec to find out about getting with them? Because obviously Kaboom, when they come into a neighborhood and goes and provides money and help to build a new playground, really does revitalize that area. So it'd probably be a good idea.
Yep, certainly, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Malcolm, before you leave.
Yes, sir.
Just to update this council. About 2 years ago, Feeding Tampa Bay went in and painted Ray Park inside. They did some repair work at the restroom, and outdoor facilities. And they also played a role in assisting in getting some updated computers over there. So they have already participated in the past, and they're very familiar with Ray Park.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? No? Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 3 with a quarterly report from FDOT.
Okay, good morning. My name is Ed McKinney with the Florida Department of Transportation. I guess this is the Valentine's Day edition of our update. So on your chair, in front of you, you should have a pamphlet that looks like this. This is basically just a highlight of what we've been doing over the last few years, showing some meetings, some activities that we've been. One of the comments we heard both from the council as well as the NPO and other organizations is more outreach, more public engagement, more public involvement. And we want to illustrate that, and this is a document that we've provided to kind of illustrate not only the engagement that we've had, but what we've done with that engagement, which I think is the most important thing, right? So it's not just did we listen, did we do something about the things that we heard? And so hopefully this provides you some of that information. So let's go through the update. So this illustrates some of the outreach that we had just recently on January 31st at the MPO on the 26th floor. We had an open house. The MPO hosted an open house. So this is going to be one of many of these open house discussions because there's so much information. As we roll out the SEIS, which is the Supplemental Environmental Impact Statement, which covers the downtown interchange to the West Shore interchange, there's so much information that's been gathered as part of that process. Air quality reports, noise analysis, demographics, environmental justice, all of these things, we've been collecting a lot of information, and we're going to be sharing that information, but to do it at one workshop is somewhat overwhelming. You can imagine if we were to go into a workshop and just present mountains and mountains of data and reports that we've been collecting, how would somebody be able to navigate through that information in a 2-hour or a 1-hour workshop? So what we're doing is, in partnership with the NPO, is slowly articulating this information out to the public, to the different committees that we've reported to over the years. Again, providing people an opportunity to see the information, to talk with folks, to ask some pointed questions about the data. And this was the first of one where we were showing some of the social cultural data that we've collected, the economic analysis that we've presented to this council, some of the demographic information that we've collected, along with some other data. We presented this to the public to give them an opportunity to take it in, to digest it, to understand it, and then we'll have another series of these. I believe we've got one coming up in March where we'll be doing this again, and leading up into the May workshop when we're eventually going to present all of the information in one workshop setting, allowing people, again, to comment and provide information back to us. So this kind of illustrates the schedule of, went the wrong way, sorry. This illustrates the schedule, again, of where we are. We're still preparing documents. We're still in the preparation process, but we're getting ready to move into the next phase. I've showed you this chart several times. We've kind of been holding steady in that middle zone there, so now we're starting to shift to the right. We're going to be having a public workshop in the spring, in the May timeframe, leading up to the hearing in early spring 2020.
Mr. Cohen had.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about something that's going to be occurring next month, and that's a public hearing for section to the north of the downtown interchange, which is the I-275 North Corridor. We refer to it as Section 7. It's not part of the SEIS. It was an actual reevaluation or a new document that we were doing as part of an environmental analysis, and we're going to be presenting that in a public hearing in March. And the proposal there is to add an additional lane in each direction. As I've said over many of these discussions, we have that wide median area in the center of 275 going north. So we're gonna try to capitalize on that, not requiring any additional right-of-way, but the ability to add some additional travel lanes. So where we have 6 lanes currently out there, we're going to add 2 additional lanes, 1 in each direction. In addition, we're going to be providing 15-foot inside shoulders for future transit opportunities, as well as widening the outside shoulders 12 to 12 foot, providing some opportunity there as well. We'll be looking at bike and pedestrian safety improvements in some of the underpasses, which I'll show you some of the illustrations. as well as providing noise walls, which is something that the public has repeatedly asked for. So as I said, we're looking at some pedestrian-friendly underpasses. This is something we held as charrettes back about almost 3 years ago now, where the public had asked us to consider doing things along reconnecting some streets, looking at some underpasses. So we're looking at widening sidewalks, improving lighting, widening out, cutting back some of the walls. Now you got like where you see sloped walls. The public has asked us, can we cut those back and provide more access, more pedestrian, bike access under. Include public art. We're working with Mark Sharp and the innovation folks to provide some public art up in the USF area. We'll be doing the same with the city of Tampa and other areas, looking for opportunities where we can make improvements under those underpasses. Also identifying landscaping opportunity, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes here, a few seconds. So these are just illustrations of what some of the underpasses. I kind of want to show you the next one. I think it provides more of what some of the, and these are by no means what we're going to do. These are examples that we've been showing to give people, just to kind of give them a frame of reference and get them thinking. As you can see, the before where it's somewhat dark, and obviously through the magic of computers, you could just lighten that up. But we truly intend to be providing better underpass LED lighting under the interstate, cutting back the walls, as you can see there, where you have the slope. We would cut back the walls, widen out the sidewalks, provide better access underneath those underpasses. And this is something that we heard over and over through a lot of the public engagement meetings we had that the public would like to see. So also I had mentioned attractive sound walls. The public has asked us, they want sound walls along the I-275 corridor, and we're going to be looking at that. You know, what that will look like will depend as we enter into the design phase. We will be working with the public to identify what type of aesthetic treatments they would like to see for those sound walls, but we want to make sure those walls are appealing and match the context and the character of the community that they're going to be installed in. We will work closely. There's going to be a tremendous amount of landscaping opportunities. If there's one thing we heard over and over again is the folks in these communities don't want palm trees. Okay, so let's look at some aesthetic, let's look at some landscaping that doesn't provide that. So, but one of the things we want to be careful of is that we want to make this, and this is something we're going to be doing also with the public, and we've mentioned this before. We want to be as health conscious about this project as we possibly can. And one of the things that the public has been concerned about is certain trees that trigger certain allergies. So there are opportunities, and I'm not an arborist, so I can't tell you exactly what type of trees or would be best beneficial to folks and avoiding allergies. But we do want to work with the public, keeping that sensitivity in mind, to try to provide canopy areas. One of the things that we want to do is we just don't want to make this area walkable. We want to encourage walking. We want people to use these, use the areas in their communities and feel comfortable that they can walk even in the summer heat. And if we can provide shade trees, opportunities where folks can navigate around east and from the east to the west side of the interstate and do it in comfort, we think that will encourage folks to walk. Which is something that we'd like to see as a result of this project. So as I said, we've got a public hearing coming up on March 26th. It'll be in the Seminole Heights United Methodist Church. You're welcome to attend. We'll have the consultant there. We'll have illustrations. We'll have all the data. Now again, this is just for the I-275 piece, roughly from Osborne up to Beers. And that's my presentation. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Mr. Cohen.
Yeah, so I have two questions. The first is sort of a larger philosophical question. The second is a specific question. On the first one, how do you go about doing a project like this when at the same time we have this All for Transportation referendum money that has just come in, and there's the prospect of, over the next 12 to 18 months, all sorts of transit plans that are going to be vetted and thought through, and clearly our expressway needs may change as a result of different ideas and initiatives that are going to be taken with the transportation money. So how do those two things fit together?
That's a great question, and I can tell you about a lot of the modeling we do. So currently, how these transportation projects get evolve, how they evolve is through the there's an intense amount of modeling and data collection. So we use the long-range transportation plan, which is what the MPO develops as part of their process, which incorporates all of the future possibilities. And then it does have transit built into it. So it assumes the current LRTP for Hillsborough County assumes transit. So there is a component of transit in that plan now. So what I'm showing you now incorporates that transit. It has street level transit, it has regional transit built into it.
So I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, I'll just give you an example. How do you know what capacity you're going to need on I-275 north of downtown if you don't know whether or not there's going to be the option for a train or a BRT or both on the route that you're studying? I mean, I would think that if you found out that the community's plan was to go forward with both those things, you might shift your emphasis to expressway issues in other places, thinking that the needs are changing.
Well, Councilman, I would say that the growth rate that's occurring in the Tampa Bay region is going to, there's going to be enough, as I've heard somebody say, there's enough congestion for everybody. Currently, our system is a level service F. In other words, it's already at capacity. Looking at future volumes along this corridor, and you're talking 170,000 cars, give or take 10,000, that traverse this interstate currently today. In 2040, that number is projected to go as high as 250, 260. So if you think about what transit can do for this region, in the best of circumstances, transit pulls off about 5%. In a very optimum situation, 10% of the traffic. So you're talking 20,000 cars would be reduced by that. So you're already, my point is, no matter, you could have an intense amount of transit and hopefully that will help, but there's still going to be congestion on the interstate system, regardless of the intense amount of transit that you need. What will help, and I think what will really add value to reducing the amount of cars and infrastructure that we have is we've got to look at land use. We have to look at how we develop and how our properties develop, because people love their cars. I would lie to you if I sat here and say, oh, if you build trains and you build transit, that's going to pull people out of their cars. Well, people still love their cars, and the city of Tampa in Hillsborough County has not kept up with the demand for regional transit. This will accommodate it, so the interstate system, by adding the 15-foot inside shoulders, will accommodate future transit. But I would be careful as to say, well, adding transit in our region, whether it's CSX line or Brightline, is going to solve our congestion problems. Is going to take enough cars off the road where you don't need to address it on the interstate.
Well, I guess where I was going is that depending on where the transit is added, it's going to shift what emphasis are going to be required with limited amount of dollars. And that really led me to the more specific question, which is what is going on with the interchange at the Howard Franklin Bridge, at the Courtney Camp, at the State Road 60, 275, where the airport is, because we still, no matter when the bridge gets rebuilt, have 4 or 5 lanes bottlenecking into 2 lanes coming from St. Petersburg into Tampa. And my understanding is that there's still no money to actually do the interchange improvements.
You're absolutely correct. So Secretary Gwynn is currently pursuing funding opportunities with the new Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Kevin Tebow. They're having conversations about how we can move forward with the West Shore interchange. Hopefully, hopefully in the next year or so, we'll have some clarity on that, and that's just, we're waiting. We need funding.
Is anyone going to the legislature and even asking for the money?
Absolutely. So we have got, I don't know the exact number, but I would say it's over a dozen letters of support, including letters of support from Hillsborough County, from the MPO, from Pinellas, from business organizations in the region, asking both us, the legislature, to advance that project. And we're hoping our message is heard, and we do receive some funding.
Councilman Suarez.
Councilman Cohen mentioned some things about some of the other interchanges. When you look at the plan that you had in your graphic, I guess it's near the beginning of this presentation, it has those 2 lanes for transit. The question I have is that the interchange between I-4 and 275 North, what happens at that point? Because, I mean, you've shown that those improvements would probably be on, it's probably the one before this.
Yeah,
That would be my guess.
right there.
So if you look at it, it looks like it's going, like you said, to Osborne. The interchange is not discussed at that point, it doesn't look like. Now, maybe I'm wrong about that, but.
Correct.
So if you have an express bus that's on there and it would leave the interstate at that time, or would it continue into the bottleneck?
So that's what the PD&E study for the Regional Transit Feasibility Plan will look at. What's the best way for, we're providing the access, but that plan will better address. One of the ideas is looking at a drop lane, basically an inside drop
Yep.
lane to Florabraska, where it would come down and access downtown through Florabraska, possibly either on Nebraska or on Florida.
Is that the preferred type of route concerning, because you're going to look at safety and speed and all the other
Correct.
stuff? Is that something that's preferred in terms of what is usually done in these kind of circumstances, or?
Using shoulders for regional transit is common in this country. I mean, Minnesota does it. There's other states that do it pretty.
Well, I'm not talking about I guess it would be the inside shoulder is what you're
Inside
talking
shoulder.
about. Okay, I just want to make sure we're
Right.
talking about the same thing. Go ahead.
Yes, inside shoulder. Outside
Okay.
shoulder really doesn't, because of the ramp movements that
Mm-hmm.
occur, outside shoulders really don't provide that kind of regional, it doesn't provide an advantage for transit. But this is what the Regional Transit Feasibility Plan will look at. It'll look at where is the best place to put the transit corridor and how to best accommodate it. But we're providing the access.
And Mr. Cohen touched on this subject, and when you get a new administration, as we have now, Governor DeSantis has got his own person that is now the new DOT secretary, and sometimes we think we're the dog wagging the tail when in fact it's the opposite. And we don't know him, and we don't know what his direction is going to be, either the governor or the new secretary. And I know you've touched on it because, obviously you have to have these conversations, but we haven't heard anything here locally as to what their direction is going to be, because your suggestions and your ideas may not fit in what their vision is. Has there been any discussions as to what they look at in terms of this project, or are they just soaking it all in right now?
Well, I imagine they're hearing a lot of things from a lot of different regions. I don't know if anyone's being as loud as we are. I mean, we need to continue to be loud regardless of what happens in the next year or two. Like I said, we've received more support, Councilman, for the West Shore Interchange project. This is something that had we had that kind of level of support 2 years ago, maybe we would be having a different conversation right now. Now I think people are understanding the frustration and the frustration with the whole process of how projects are funded, how projects are moved forward. The fact we gave $700 million that we had in our pockets, we gave that up. So people are understanding that now, and it's good to see that folks like the Hillsborough MPO and Pinellas and MPO, as well as the county, the city of St. Pete, coming out and saying, we've got to do something, and submitting letters to both us, to legislators, to folks in key decision-making positions that we've got to move forward with West Shore. That's the kind of voice this region needs to be able to move a project like that forward when you're competing with Miami, Jacksonville, Orlando. They're also looking for funding for their major projects. We just need to be louder, and we need to speak united. We say this with one voice, and that sounds like an overused term, but I can't stress that loud enough that that's the kind of thing that gets their attention.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time. Now we move on to public comments. Mr. Marti.
Good morning, Jorge Martin, City Attorney's Office, CRA Attorney. City of Tampa Community Redevelopment Agency, commonly referred to as the CRA, or public comment at this time. Although the makeup of the CRA is the same as that of our city council, the CRA is a different entity with a separate legal identity. Its functions are also different from the city council, even though the CRA operates under the same rules of conduct, where applicable, as the city council. 30 minutes have been set aside for citizens to speak on items not set for public hearing, but which are of interest to the functions of the CRA and the matters on today's agenda. If you're here to speak on a matter set for public hearing on today's agenda, you will have an opportunity to address the CRA at that time when the matter is heard. Please note that the CRA is not a traditional public forum, and it limits the scope of public comment to matters within the purview of the CRA in its efforts to conduct its public business. Please address your comments to issues or matters before the CRA as a body and not directed to any individual CRA member or CRA staff member or to the city council. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name for the record when you take the podium and before commencing. The CRA asks for your cooperation in maintaining orderly conduct and proper decorum throughout the public commentary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please state your name. Go ahead.
I am worldwide global sovereign despot King Johnny Bernard Booth, Uniform Commercial Code 1-308. I am here to talk to you about current events. Show them what this is right here. All right. So, I got a peace pipe right here. Got the arrows right there, the bows right there. AIM, global movement. Those who don't know too much of Hebrew, Yud, Hey, Why, Hey. I even wrote it out in English for you, or like how you like to put it in your Bible. Y, H, W, H. I don't use LORD because that's disrespectful. Kingdom, of world, with world. Real, that's for you commercial folks. Reality, that's for the living. Living system, dead system. Dictum, that means we are supposed to be working together. The old system, West, 666, Yin. The new system that is merging in, East, living, families, 777, Yang. The old system, you kept everybody in the darkness. You were just business, you were just religion. The new system coming in, we are the light, we are the family, we are the spiritual. This is an address TikTok, to the globe and the world. Okay, now, I have to explain this because we are here together, whether you guys realize it or not. And you've been overrunning the families, overrunning the communities, overrunning things. Us Aborigines, Indigenous, we are your kings and queens. Now, look, the rest of the government scene that is on the scene known as nation, country, city, county, region, and local. You guys came in and set up in the beginning to set up businesses and buildings. Now you have to make room for your true leaders who have been sitting back watching everything going on in the scene. The reason why you can't pitch what you have because you've been stuck in the box playing around in the scene. We've been watching you so we know everything that you've been doing on the scene. You can't fix your own mess because you're stuck in the mess. We're not stuck in the mess. We can see what your mess is. We can clean your mess up. You don't even have any real currency. I have all the real currency. You're gonna come to Tampa, the headquarters of the world, the capital of America, and you're going to loan from here. My spokesperson, businessman, Donald J. Trump, foreign president, prime minister, hasn't been lying to you even though he has to expose the old former United States, which belongs to the old European African Union, which they don't even have permission to operate on the soil. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person, please.
Good morning, Connie Burton. Every time I come, I learn something. Learning lesson this morning is that if the community in East Tampa want to save this neighborhood, I think we should be engaged in a serious petition writing or something to express our concerns to this new governor, because obvious when people are working to economically shut down our community, nothing in the plan says how our community will be economically advanced as a result of the expressways and whatever coming through. Had a visit from your city attorney the other night at our CRA meeting. and it came to me, I'm just in the wrong place. Going to our neighborhood CRA meeting and being informed by the city attorney is that they have no power. They absolutely have no power. How is it that a 2009 strategic plan, and we're in 2019, is still moving forward? We look at the budget from the CRA of East Tampa, the first thing pop out is the city salary person, $140-some thousand. Next thing, the environmental police officers, as if we got serious environmental issues in East Tampa, almost $130,000. Then when the community is complaining and demanding for housing rehab, sidewalks where people have lived in these communities for 30 years, what do we get? A roundabout. Everything that the community do not want. And you continue to move forward, pressing it down the community as if we're being allowed to participate in this process. I wish the governor just take back all the money, shut down the CRAs, because our community and our CRA would never be able to come to this podium and speak like the downtown CRA, the group that spoke this morning about all the advancement, where our children will be able to look out and say, beyond a playground, beyond a swimming pool, we advanced in the 20 years or 30 years that the CRA has been in place. It is not happening. It is shameful. It is disgraceful for me and for others to come into our community with the conclusion that poverty exists because you want it. Blighted community exists because you want it. Because if we was a community of self-determination, we would be able to come down here and let you know and let staff know that when they have not led us properly economically, we don't want them anymore. We do not want it. We want to see a change in our community. We want to see economic uplift, and roundabouts is not the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person, please.
Waiver form?
No, only for, yeah, land use and public hearing. Not for public comment, CRA. Sir?
Chair, if you could explain that.
Oh, during public comment, it's only 3 minutes. We don't allow the speaker waiver forms unless it's a public hearing, rezoning issue, whatnot, so.
Ventesnot, Tampa, Florida. Nobody in society speaks about dogs having oral sex. You don't hear that conversation in society. Nobody in society. Tell me, when was the last time you heard about them over at NASA talking about sending watermelons to Mars? You don't hear that conversation in society. And nobody in the city council speaks about the improvement of 26% of the population of Tampa, 26% of the African population. 26% of the population is African. And nobody speaks about the improvement of that. And we have no representation inside our communities. Absolutely, positively none. And it's the hatred for African people. A certain kind of hatred for black skin. And I say it every week, I feel it every week, and I mean it every week. And I say it from my brain and from my heart. A hatred for African people. You have 5 or 6 people running for mayor. Nobody have admonished the current mayor for calling black women bitches. And you got a woman sitting right there and she ain't saying nothing about it. Nobody said a word about the mayor calling for the lynching of an African man. And you got a black buffoon sitting right there and he ain't said nothing about it. Nobody talks about the hatred that it is for African people, and you got a Jew sitting right there. He should know a gay Jew at that. He should know the suffering of African people. You have 600,000 bicycle stops and nothing. And the most thing they try to tell you from this perspective, from this podium, shut up and don't talk about us because we're like kings and queens. We're like Jeff Bezos. The National Enquirer can't run an article about him because he's above all that. That's what this city council try to be, above all that. You try to be above poor and working class people, above the African people, above the citizenry. You try to be above all that. And it's the hatred of African people that got Mike Vick, got O.J. Simpson, got Bill Cosby sitting in prison. Bill Cosby paid a white woman $4.5 million and sitting in prison. Mike Vick fought some dogs or was connected to this sitting in prison. And you got people trying to steal a whole country and give it to businesses in Russia, and all of them have presidential pardons. A hatred for African people and a hatred for Africa.
Thank you very much. Next person.
Thank you, Doc. God bless your heart.
Thank you very much.
You're speaking the truth. People don't want to hear the truth nowadays. My name is Pastor Frank Williams, Paradise Missionary Baptist Church. And I come down here. You know what? I really want to invite all of you all to come to my church. And you want to know something? You ain't got to bring up a round penny. I just want y'all to come there to hear the truth. Y'all are welcome. But y'all not going to come because y'all are white folk. Not even that black man is going to even come because nobody want to hear the truth nowadays. But I'm going to read some scripture to you out of the book of 2 Timothy. Know this, therefore, know now also that we're in the last day, perilous time shall come. Black folks been in perilous time from the beginning they created the United States. For men shall be lovers of their own self, covetous, boastful, proud, blasphemous, disobedient to parents, unthankful and unholy, without natural affection, truth breaker, false accuser, incompetent, fiery, despiser of those that are good, traitor, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God Almighty, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sin, led away with divers lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. And that's exactly what's going on here. But we have to understand, I feel sorry for this young man, these young black people coming up here. We never get no results whatsoever. True. I got a church right there, 1112 East Scott Street. I'm inviting you all to come 10:30 every Sunday morning. And I guarantee you, instead of you looking down on us, you're going to get happy and tell God thank you that we got somebody that willing to preach the truth. And I have to compromise with what this young man just a while ago said. There's so much damn hatred in the United States of America toward black people. Now they're picking on the Mexican. They already slaughtered many of the Indians they can, and they don't care nothing about the Jews. This is a white population that think they're better than anybody else. And you are no better than nobody. And let me tell y'all something about Africa. God's creation came out of Africa. You might not know it. All of us came out of the continent of Africa, whether you think so or not. Read your Bible and you find out the truth. And I guarantee you, come to my church, God knows I'm going to preach the truth to you whether you want to hear it or not. And thank God for the many blessings that he has bestowed upon all of us. And I ask God to forgive y'all, but y'all got to ask God to forgive you for yourself. God bless all of y'all.
Thank you very much. Next person.
Thanks for allowing me. My name is Benjamin Bazin with the West Tampa Alliance. I've been visiting Mr. Frank Reddick for quite some time, about Juneteenth. And each time I come up here to his office, he spin me around in circles, tell me lies, Why you want to do that to me? The West Tampa Alliance. All we're asking for is help. We've been doing this for 9 years now, Juneteenth for 9 years. It seems like we never can get any help. But you have another organization called a coalition now. Seems like they can get help. I wonder why. It's wrong. One thing we know for sure, Mr. Reddick, you know it's wrong. If nobody up there know, Mr. Reddick know. We've been asking about Juneteenth for so long and been getting all these lies. Should we back down? No, we're not. We're going to keep on coming, keep on standing up for the community. The last time I was here, I asked about a radio station. Asked for you to talk about a radio station. I didn't never get any feedback, so I'm trying to wonder what's going on with that. We need a radio station. We're asking for a grant for this radio station. Why we can't get a radio station for the community? Are you afraid of the truth? The truth about what's going on? Everybody in Hillsborough County will benefit off of this radio station. We, the West Tampa Alliance, been cleaning up on Main Street for 9 years. Paper, trash, on Green Street, cutting the grass, cleaning up for years and years and years. Now, we are asking for a cleanup doing our alleys, and we can't get that. We can't get a pair of gloves, can't even get trash bags now. I wonder why. Why are we being let down? Why are we being put behind? Seems like this CRA is geared up the wrong way. Seems like it's geared up for the people that have money. The ones that don't have money get left behind. Tell me why. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. We have your friend, Mr. Clayton Sutton, can go down to Parks and Rec and change the paperwork on the West Tampa Alliance for this organization called Coalition. That's wrong, Mr. Reddick, and you know it's wrong. It's time to do something right. Let's do something right for the community. I thank you for allowing me.
Thank you very much.
Sheriff, let me just respond. Number one, this organization not legitimate. And number two, they have an advisory board over in West Tampa. I don't make those decisions. That advisory board make those decisions. And the city doesn't give you grants, okay? So for you to be sitting back there next to the director of the CRA for the city and to come here this morning and you know, it's amazing to me that people come before the microphone and make these outrageous comments and statements, and then you see me in West Tampa and you want to kiss my butt. So don't play them games with me. You get you a legitimate organization.
What you saying, sir?
You don't speak no more.
Okay.
All right? Because I will walk in West Tampa in the next 30 minutes and see you on Main Street. So don't play them games with me. But don't come in here and fabricate, and you sitting right there with the man who can work with your organization, who can assist your organization, and you know who is on the advisory board for West Tampa CRA. That's where you should be taking your gripe to. I don't make that decision here. But don't play them games with me. Want to kiss my butt on Main Street, but you come down here and act like a damn fool. I'm through with it.
All right, thank you very much. We have some required approvals. Mr. McDonough.
Yes, please. We're asking to transfer funds in the downtown core CRA neighborhood improvements to finish the lighting of the Taylor Street Bridge, Fortune Taylor Street Bridge, excuse me.
We have a motion from Councilman Miranda with a second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor? All right.
Next item is receive and accept the TIF financial report, quarterly report.
We have a motion from Councilman Miranda with a second from Councilman Cohen. All in favor? All right.
Item number 6 is transferring funds within the East Tampa CRA Fund from neighborhood infrastructure to various administrative and operating accounts.
Did I get a motion to approve? Second. Motion from Councilman Miranda with a second from Councilman Cohen. All in favor?
Final item is transferring funds in the Channel District for a very similar change.
Motion from Councilman Miranda with a second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor? All right, anything else?
No, sir, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. We'll go to information reports and new business from board members. Councilman Vieira? Nothing, sir. Councilman Miranda? Councilman Reddick?
Nothing.
Councilman Cohen? Councilman Suarez?
Happy Valentine's Day. We're going to have a nice evening as we have had once before, so my wife is not too happy, but that's okay. We'll make it up somehow.
All right, can I get a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
All right, a motion from Councilman Suarez, second from Councilman Suarez. All in favor?
I second myself. That was good.
Sorry, from Miranda to Suarez.
It was a good trick.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.